think an e-learner is a forever learner, because you're bringing them the learning to their home, to their place of comfort. Hello, my name is Salah Khelfaoui. I am extremely delighted to joining the Greenfield virtual school community. You're really removing all those brick and mortar constraints. The first thing you do is you learn at your best when you feel like you are at your best, not when we feel, administrators, that you need to be here. You have some students, and then I'm talking about any age student. We'd be talking about adult learners, or we're talking about children, that just perform best in their own environment, whether be it a time constraints or a place constraint, or a sound constraints, a decor constraints. Don't assume that all learners perform optimally in whatever environment we give them. I think it's the asynchronous part that really brings in the richness of the e-learning, is the fact that I can go back to that material as often as I want, whenever I want. If I'm the type of person that likes to really read and learn before I sleep late at night, I can do that at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And if I'm an early riser that like to wake up at 5 and have a cup of coffee and hit the books, I can do that as well, and review the material. When you're restricted to strictly brick and mortar model, you're really reaching what we refer to in schools as the 80-20. 80% of your students, you can grab them. The 20% that are either the very fast learners, that you, after 10 minutes, you've just bored them to death and they're no longer listening to you. Or some of the kids that are having a hard time following you, and you're not slowing down enough to make sure that they get the concept before you move on, and then you have a tendency of moving on with the 80%, and then you're leaving them behind. So that's why I call it, it's a forever learner. You can, I think it's an ideal, in an ideal world, is every kid, whether you go to brick and mortar school, or whether you go to an online environment, online school, should always have that asynchronous content available to them to be able to continue their learning at any time they want. The advantage that we have, and that we need to leverage to the max, is the fact that having asynchronous material and content available to us. The best learning experience is when you deliver that live experience, that live class, but then you enrich it within the class and after the class time with content that is available offline. One of the greatest advantages that we have, I mean, any school system that I know, if you talk to any school leader I know, they would salivate over that what we have is the fact that any classroom that we hold live becomes, immediately after the class is finished, becomes one of that content, by virtue of being recorded, and parents, learning coaches can go back to it as often as they want with their students. So we're adding to that wealth of available material offline. You know how many school leaders out there would salivate, or would love to have that ability to have every single classroom they offer in their school be recorded and available to their students for further review, or learning coaches that help the kids. So that is really our strength. And we need to get more, get our teachers enabled. And I know we're having, very soon, we're having a major 2-day professional development in April on 4th and 5th with another virtual school from Vermont, to bring in a great deal of professional development to enable them even better in making sure that they have a good understanding and a good hold of what is available out there, and how they can help their students even better in a much well-tailored, individualized learning experience. And I think that's where I feel that the live experience is almost like your strategic plan of what you do, and those, the general trend. This is what we're going to learn about. These are the general guidelines and the concept. And then that synchronous material, that online material, is really more like almost like your action plan. You go back and you give it to the kids, and they drill down into that until there is a much better comprehension of that. So I think if we take either one or the other and we rely only on one or the other, we may not succeed as well. But if we blend in the two really well, that we improve our chances of success.